Recording now.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the interview on your school. Okay. Can you tell me about your schools, like the size and like how many people and what people were?
Well, when I was in grade school, I went to Olmsted School in Gillette, out of Gillette, Wyoming, and we had 6 people in our school.
Oh, that's little.
It was very small. It was my 2 brothers and me made up half the school. And it was just, there was Vernon Olson and
Vernon
Nyla
Olson, the one from church?
No, Vernon Hunter.
Oh.
And Nyla Morris and her little sister was all that was in school.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And did you go to any other schools?
Well, when I was in the 5th grade, we got on the train during the springtime and moved out to Portland, Oregon. Moved out to Oregon.
Yeah.
During the wartime, and we moved into the largest city in Oregon, which was Vanport. It was a city made up next between Portland and Vancouver, and it was made up of apartment buildings, and there was more population there than in Portland at that time. There was many, many families moved in from all over the United States to work in the shipyards.
So did you live in an apartment?
Yes, we lived in a 3-room apartment. My brothers both had a bedroom, and my folks had a bedroom, and I slept on the downport in the front room, which was the front room and the dining room and the kitchen all together.
That was pretty crowded.
Yes, but they had recreation buildings, and the kids played in the street a lot.
And then did you go to the same high school in Vanport?
In Vanport, I was in the 6th grade when I started, and I went there the 7th and 8th grade.
Mm-hmm. And then what school?
And then one year we went to Klamath, Washington, and spent a year at Klamath High School. Was junior high I was in.
Mm-hmm.
And then we moved back to Vanport, and in 1948, Vanport was flooded. The dike broke and instantly flooded Vanport while we were living there.
So it ruined your house?
Well, it was an apartment, yes, and it flooded. I mean, it totally flooded. There were people killed. It came in so fast. We were gone that day, thank goodness.
Where at?
We had went to Portland.
Mm-hmm.
We had some company from Portland, and my brother wanted me to stay home, and I wouldn't because there was a fear that something was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went with him, and I'm sure glad I did because our neighbors went out, but they just barely got out before the water, and they had just helped themselves to a truck and went out the wrong way is the only reason they got out.
Mm-hmm.
It was really a bad flood.
How did World War II affect you and your school and your parents?
Well, it totally changed our lives because we lived on this little rented farm in Wyoming, and we were very, very poor, and we had no neighbors or not very much contact. In fact, my brother couldn't even go to high school. He had to go to take a correspondence school because it was 60 miles from the nearest town.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we moved out to Vanport, we had schooling up through the high school. And it just was a better life for my father, especially because he was more of a city person than a country person. And they were trying to work on a farm, which wasn't my dad's thing. He got a job after the war in bookwork in a glass company.
Mm-hmm. So then you weren't as poor?
No, we really weren't.
You were better off?
We were better off, yes.
And was there a change? Oh yeah, there was change at school, cause.
Oh yeah, from a 6-room school to the largest town in Oregon.
So at the war, that's when you moved?
During the wartime,
During the
yes.
war?
Yeah, it was, my dad came out here to work in the shipyards.
Mhm. Describe what your typical classroom setting was like.
Well, mostly I like to describe the one when there was 6 people. It was so different because we didn't have running water. We had a little house out in the back. And there was, I don't think there was any water in the room. I think we had to carry our water there.
Was there any desks?
There were desks. And I always like to think this teacher, the one I remember the most, used to come to school and let everybody comb her hair.
Comb her hair.
So in the morning she would read this book. Always, the teachers always read a book to us every morning for the first half hour. We'd get a book read to us. And whoever was the lucky one got to comb the teacher's hair every morning.
Was it all natted when she came?
I don't remember. I was pretty young then, but I know I loved doing it, and all the kids liked to. They all combed their hair. But in the schoolroom, it was 8 grades. There wasn't all the grades represented with only 6 kids in the school. But you learned your class and the big classes too. So you really excelled in class because as you were learning your studies, you were learning other people's grade studies too. And I thought it was a real neat.
So if you didn't understand something from last year, you just learn it again from the little kids.
Yeah, or vice versa. You would, by the time you got there, you'd know it because you heard other people reciting it.
Yeah, so it's easier to learn.
Yes.
And then at your other schools, was it like more people?
Yes, it was a lot more. We went half days.
Like schools today, you mean?
No, it was even worse than that because of this town accelerating so fast. The schools were too small, and we went half days. We'd either go in the morning or the nighttime. So be careful the cords there. So we just went half days to school, and then we were off a half a day, which it was okay though. But
didn't learn nearly as well.
I was ahead really in my class, and I never had any problems. I was always ahead in my class at that time.
And what style clothes did you wear? Were there ever any trends or anything?
Well, being a poor person, I wore what I got.
Like hand-me-downs?
Yes, a lot. And I didn't have a lot of clothes. But as I got into high school, it was long skirts and bobby socks and sweaters.
Do you remember big hats or high-heel clogs and stuff like that?
No, it was mainly bobby socks and
sweaters and
long skirts.
Oh.
It was, there were dress shoes, but not to school. You'd wear flats, you know. These Armishaw shoes, which were like saddle shoes, they were very popular.
Who were some of your teen idols, like singers and authors? And
Frank Sinatra.
Do you remember like Roy Rogers?
Yes.
Did you like him?
I like Frank Sinatra.
Roy
Rogers was a cowboy.
Was Frank Sinatra a singer? What kind of music did he sing?
It was croon.
Classical or?
No, it was love songs.
Oh, like New Kids on the Block, kind of?
No, no. It was slow love songs.
Do you remember going to dances at school?
Some, yeah.
Was there like prom?
There was
prom. Is it the same setting as it is like now? The guys would ask the girls?
Yeah, the guys would ask the girls. It wasn't. I think now that they spend so much more money. Of course, money. It was relative too, because they always had a tux and the fancy dresses and everything. So But nowadays they spend a lot more, like they go out for dinner
Yeah.
and
You guys didn't. There's
yeah,
just the dance.
yeah.
And
of
did it
course
cost to get into the dances?
I can't remember.
Hmm.
I think it did to the prom, but not as much at all.
Mhm. And what was your favorite subject in school?
I think algebra.
You liked math the best?
Mhm. Yeah.
Were you really good at it?
I always liked numbers a lot.
Mhm. So you excelled in that. Were you good at all subjects really though?
No.
No?
No, I wasn't very good at reading.
You weren't?
No, things, with reading.
Yeah. So you
As I got into high school, I got kind of lazy too. I'd rather socialize.
And, well, that's all I have to ask. Is there anything else that you want to say?
No, I think that would be about it.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.